All right, we ought to be good now. Let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Yo, peoples! Everything appears to be in order. Let me just double check here before we get started. I figured since I'm done messing with, I basically beat Super Mario Odyssey yesterday. I figured today would be a good day for us to take a break from games real quick and just chill, talk to each other, and react to something that Kitty posted that she wanted me to check out as well. And I figured I might as well make it like a bit of a session for us all to enjoy. So yeah, stream looks like it's good. Still working on Death Stranding. I only have 4 more miscellaneous deliveries to do, and then I get the growth of a legend trophy, and then I can put the difficulty back down to normal. Yeah, I can put the difficulty back down to normal because I've been playing on very hard for the past several sessions in order to get all this stuff ranked up. So my time with Death Stranding 1 is still progressing nicely. Now, let us dive into, well, essentially what. Well, hold on. Hold on, real quick. All right, there we go. Had to check something real quick, make sure it didn't pop up on screen. Nope. Yep, everything is fine. All right, everything is fine. I had to exit out of some extra windows that I had up just momentarily, but we're good now. So, we are going to be checking out El Reno, the largest tornado in recorded history. Now, El Reno is a location in Oklahoma, and as a former Oklahoma resident back when I was a kid, I know firsthand just how dangerous it is to live in Oklahoma. It is literally the main path of a vast majority of tornadoes that touch down in the United States because when you hear of Oklahoma, you think tornado country. Those of us who have either lived around the state or lived in the middle of the state, we were quite used to hearing sirens go off. Sometimes, when there were major storms, sometimes you would hear the sirens go off. And mind you, we were living in a military base. So they had the klaxon calls and everything when a tornado came through. Matter of fact, one of the biggest storms that me and my family had to deal with, uh, we all huddled inside of my mom's room when I was a kid. We all huddled in there at night because the wind was howling. We didn't want to be in our rooms by ourselves. And my parents had like this really massive bed. They had this really massive bed in their room. And this was during the time before flat screens, okay? This was during the time when TVs were either like the big tube TVs with the big bulbous screens where if you put a magnet on it, you could see the colors go across it. But then later on in life, you found out that that would actually mess up the screen. So I learned to stop doing that as a kid. But we had like this big tube TV. We had like this big tube TV in the room, and we all huddled inside of the room during this big storm. The next morning, because we managed to try and sleep through it, nothing too damaging happened to the house. But what actually happened was the winds were so fierce, in our neighborhood, there's this giant tree on the opposite side of the street that we lived on. So after the storm was over, that whole tree was uprooted and it fell in the middle of the road that would essentially allow people to drive back and forth. Now, mind you, it didn't completely cut people off from getting to the street. It just meant that people would have to go the back way, which is not what most people did. They mostly because the thing about our house was it was closer to the main road. It was closer to the main road, but the road behind where the tree fell, people had to go towards the back, and then of course it would split up, and then you could go around. You could split up and then go to the back areas of the neighborhood and then get back to the main road. So it was more an inconvenience than anything else. It fell in the middle of the road. Thankfully, it didn't fall on top of anyone's house, but It uprooted an entire tree, and it was a big tree, like big enough for people to swing off of. It was a massive tree. And the roofing for where we parked, during this time we used to drive a Mitsubishi, and it was a forest green Mitsubishi. I remember it too because I love riding in that car as a kid. So the roofing over, and mind you, these were military houses, so we didn't have like full classic garages. We had areas where we could park our cars under, and it had like a metal shingle type awning over the top of our cars, and those came off completely. Some of them came off and were laying on top of our truck, and there was just tons and tons of leaves and branches all over the neighborhood after the storm was over. Now, as far as I can remember, I don't think we ever had a storm that big roll through because we lived in Lawton, Oklahoma. I don't think we ever had a storm, at least during the years where we lived. I don't think we ever seen a storm that big happen after that. Now, we've been in plenty other storms before, such as giant snowstorms that knocked out the power for a couple of days, and big tornado storms where the tornadoes were close to my area here in North Carolina, but it didn't get close to my house. And I remember because I was playing Marvel's Avengers that day when that storm happened, and it was the Black Panther DLC, and I had to stop it because the winds were getting so fierce and loud outside that I had to stop it in order for the storm to pass, and then I would get back on again. I still have that stream up where I said, like, hey, I'm gonna have to cut it short because the storm was getting quite fierce outside, and everyone was, congregating downstairs. So it's been a while since I seen any major storms. Now, enough about my history with storms. Now, we move on to El Reno. Also, Mihai, I see you over there. It's good to see you. Kitty as well, and Hybrid as well. Good to see you. Let's begin.
This is the largest tornado.
Hold on. I forgot to refresh the page. Because it's been sitting up here since yesterday, so I forgot to refresh it.
This is the largest tornado in recorded history, heading.
All right, so let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. A tornado, is that the other side of it? See, the thing about tornadoes is the ones where it takes you a minute to try and find where the other side of it is. Like, you can see the side where it's moving away from, but it's the one where it's moving towards a location and it's already coated in clouds that make you very, very curious about just how big this actual tornado is. Like, how wide it is.
This is the largest tornado in recorded history, heading straight for storm chasers, desperately trying to escape. In just a couple of minutes, this monster would become one of the strongest, most infamous tornadoes in modern history.
Did the truck get knocked
But how
over?
did this happen? An EF5 tornado just went through Moore, Oklahoma, leveling multiple neighborhoods. The large Oklahoma City metro is left in shock, leveling multiple.
All of those were houses. Every last one of those were houses. Mind you, my family and I, we lived in two different types of houses in Lawton, Oklahoma. We had like the military housing, which was one, and then we had like a regular housing, which I remember had these long bush leaves type things where if you touched them the wrong way, they would kind of cut into your finger a little bit and give you like paper cuts. That's how thin they were. I remember living in that house because I also remember that was my sticky hand phase. And I thought, let me stick this sticky hand to a white wall and see what happens. And I found out the hard way that it is not a good idea to launch a sticky hand at a white wall. Or to keep using a sticky hand after it starts to pick up lint and stuff all over it. I had, even at a young age, I had a, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or I'll keep using this until the wheels fall off. That was me when I was a kid. This is all housing, though. I recognize the structures of like the way the width of the houses. I kind of recognize this because this is how one of our houses was set up when we were living in it. Now, this is a whole neighborhood though. Gone. This is a whole neighborhood gone.
Multiple neighborhoods. The large Oklahoma City metro is left in shock at the devastation. May is an active time for tornadoes in Oklahoma, but nothing like this could have been predicted. One thing about the weather, though, is that it stops for no one. As the weather system responsible for the EF5 tornado fades to the east, a new system follows from behind. Forecasters notice a strong trough on weather models and note it will intensify over central Oklahoma as winds push from a region of high pressure to low pressure. A band of robust winds foster the wind shear needed for storms to form. The summer heat and strong moisture from the Gulf blend in these areas as well, giving the atmosphere every ingredient it would need for supercell thunderstorms.
Okay, so right here, this is the reason why when it's hot outside and it suddenly starts raining and it starts storming outside, it's never a good combination. Especially considering how hot it's been lately. The last thing we need is immediate rain and immediate storms after all this heat that we're getting. Because that creates supercells. And for some places that create more supercells than any other, all this heat and all this rain that we keep getting mixed in together, it never bodes well.
Areas as well, giving the atmosphere every ingredient it would need for supercell thunderstorms. But still, not every supercell is a disaster.
It feels like South Florida. I gotta tell you, I mean, my hands have been sticky all day. There's just a ton of moisture in the atmosphere right now, and a couple of storms that have already begun to fire here. Gonna show them to you. Off to our north here, this is one that's gonna head toward, we believe, Cashion. You can see a well-delineated base to this. So we're gonna have to position ourselves in a way that lets those storms slide by us, where we can kind of avoid the larger hail cores because they've already put down some big hail.
Hundreds, possibly thousands of chasers have chosen today to chase storms. I mean, it was perfect. Right in the middle of Tornado Alley, summer had just rolled around, and a huge
Think about, and I want y'all to think about that for a quick second. Also, Mihai, you says, hello, this is new, I'm interested. Yeah, Mihai, I do more than just manga reactions and game stuff. I react to different things with you guys, especially videos and stuff that you guys suggest. I react to different things. So, here's my thing. Storms are such a serious thing in the United States that there's a section of the United States literally called Tornado Alley. There's a whole section of the United States designated where tornadoes will always appear, or they're more common to appear. It has its own section of the United States and its own name.
huge tornado had just occurred in the exact same area, enticing chasers with the prospect of another potentially historic event. With the risk directly situated on central Oklahoma, storm chasers needed a good place to sit and wait while still avoiding traffic from...
Hold on. Let me see. Where's Lawton? Where's Lawton, Oklahoma? There it is! That's where I lived! Directly in the path of it. Directly there. My family and I used to live on that. Hold on, let me go back just a little bit.
Storm chasers needed a good place to sit and wait while still avoiding...
Right there. Okay, so down on the bottom between the yellow and the red, that is Lawton, Oklahoma. That is where my family used to live. Now, since most of it happened in the middle of Oklahoma, we were kind of a little bit on the outskirts, just a bit.
Putting traffic from the huge Oklahoma City. To the west of the Oklahoma City metro, the town of Reno presented itself as the perfect target for chasers. I want to take a brief moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. There have been times in my life where I've struggled with severe anxiety and stress. For a while, I remember feeling like I couldn't really open up to the people around me because I didn't want to be a burden. In retrospect,
BetterHelp, huh? How long ago was this? 9 months? Wasn't BetterHelp the same company that was leaking and giving away people's personal information? Even though, as a therapist, you're supposed to keep that stuff confidential, isn't this the same business that had that issue where they were just giving away personal information of patients? Ain't this the same one?
I realized how much it would have helped to talk to an actual professional. This is where BetterHelp comes in. BetterHelp is an online platform that connects you with a licensed therapist who's trained to help you with whatever you're going through. Whether it's stress, anxiety, or just needing someone to talk to, they've got you covered. It's super easy to get started. All you have to do is go to betterhelp.com/tornadotrx, answer a few questions, and you'll be
Welcome back,
matched with a
kitty.
therapist who has experience.
Dude's got an ad going about BetterHelp, and I'm questioning, like, isn't this the same company that gave away private information from patients?
In the areas you're actually
So,
looking for. You can communicate with your therapist through a phone call.
yeah.
You'll usually be ready to take that step towards better mental health. Sign up for a special discount on yours at 4:30 p.m. The video. With the El Reno area packed with chasers, at 4:30 p.m., a blip on radar appears, and then a couple more. With the extreme instability present, or available energy in the atmosphere, these blips are quickly going to turn into monster supercells. Renowned storm chaser Tim Samaras tweets about the dangerous potential ahead. Storms now initiating south of Watauga along the Triple Point. Dangerous stay ahead for Oklahoma. Stay weather savvy. Tim is chasing with his group Twist X. His son, Paul Samaras, and a close colleague of his named Carl Young accompany him as part of the team. They're
Got no idea. I believe it is. I believe it's the same. I believe it's the same business. Hold on. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things about BetterHelp, such as, it's meant to help people, and sometimes the therapists that people contract don't even be available for when they say they're available, yet they still want to get paid. So yeah, BetterHelp was involved in some controversies. The data privacy in 2023. FTC alleged that BetterHelp used this data for targeted advertising purposes. BetterHelp settled the charges by paying 7.8 million in refunds to affected customers. Let's see. Influencer marketing practices has been criticized for its use of influencers to promote its services. Some influencers have allegedly been paid to promote BetterHelp without disclosing their financial ties to the company. Misleading claims. Been accused of making misleading claims about its services, such as guaranteeing that customers will receive real therapy from licensed professionals. And I believe Alicia X Life, and Alicia from Alicia X Life and Alicia X Death, she actually, I believe, and I need to make sure that I'm not misquoting her. She said that she actually tried to get in contact with a therapist, and the person who was doing the therapy session wasn't even a professional therapist. So there's quite a bit. There's quite a bit about it. These controversies have damaged BetterHelp's reputation and raised questions about the privacy and effectiveness of online therapy platforms. The FTC settlement and other legal actions have led to changes in BetterHelp's practices, but the company continues to face scrutiny from customers and regulators. So yeah, this is a bit it's a bit iffy. I'm still thinking it's a bit iffy. Oh dang, I had no idea. Sorry about that. Don't be sorry. I needed to brush up on this history as well. Cause you can't be no company that's promoting, hey, we're gonna be able to get you the help you need as an online therapy company, and the people you have on there are not qualified to be therapists, or are they doing some shady stuff on the side at the expense of the people who are trying to get help? So that's the reason why I had to re-dive back into that little bit of a rabbit hole, because what is it about some of these companies thinking that, hey, if we tell people we'll do stuff better for their lives, I'm pretty sure we'll find some suckers, I mean, some saps, I mean, some schmoes, I mean, some people who will be willing to go along with it. And if we get some big name YouTubers or big name influencers to say how how good BetterHelp is, then that could pull in more people. Who cares if the people we commission are not professionals? As long as they say what they want what the other person thinks they want to hear, then that'll work out just fine. I got a problem with that because depression is very real, and people with depression need professional help in dealing with it. Not people who take an online course and get like an online degree and just use stuff from other people's work in order to get by, or just like read this employee handbook and this is how you handle this situation. People who are actually professionals at their jobs. That is what people need, not people who just take it as a job and then not even dedicate the time to the person to make sure the person gets the help they need. I have a problem with that. Because too many people are suffering from depression right now. Too many people are taking their own lives because of depression. So when I see BetterHelp, I can't help but be skeptical. Just a bit. Sorry, I know that's a bit of a weird tangent when we're supposed to be looking at a video about a tornado, but I saw BetterHelp and I immediately got like red flags.
Goal: get life-saving data of tornadoes using instruments like pressure probes. In fact, back in 2003, Tim had set the world record for the lowest pressure drop ever recorded in a tornado, and he was out there to do it again, risking his life for the safety of those around him. By 5 p.m., many of the cells are spinning and producing massive hail. This would be the start of the storm's dangerous behavior. It's not long until they begin to merge into one giant complex, with the southernmost storm becoming dominant. This dominance allows it to tap into atmospheric ingredients more efficiently and spin tighter than the others. Rapid rotation encompasses the base of the storm, and a large wall cloud forms. This wall cloud highlights the mesocyclone of the storm, essentially the portion capable of producing a tornado.
Right here, we're just south, about 2 miles and maybe a mile west of El Reno. This is a pretty good storm right here. This cloud right here.
At 6:01 p.m., the first report of a tornado appears. When exactly this tornado actually touched down, however, is a little murky, as the actual base of the storm is enormous. Instead of a thin funnel emerging from the spinning clouds, dust began to swirl randomly underneath the entire storm. While currently weak, it's obvious that something big is about to happen. It's just a matter of when. At 6:03.
Real quick, I know I keep stopping, but I want to give my 2 cents here. That has got to be one of the most terrifying things to witness when you see the clouds, which are normally high, hundreds of feet in the air, when you start to see them touch down. And it's even worse when those clouds start to create not a thin funnel, but a wide one that from a far off distance looks like it's moving real slow. But it's also it's a thick tornado. And it's touching down, and it just starts spinning. And like I said, you're far off. It doesn't look like it's moving all that fast. But if you were to ever get close to it, you probably wind up the same way those riders from Mad Max Fury Road did when they went straight into the sandstorm. And it's a wide one too, so from a far distance you can tell it's massive, but getting up close to it, have it sit on you? Nah, that's not good. Because even though in the eye of the storm it may be a bit quiet, well, it may be a bit quiet in the eye of a hurricane, but inside of a tornado, I can only imagine what that actually sounds like.
A small funnel stretches to the ground before lifting back in the air.
Okay guys, I think that's going close.
It's down. Down right behind the trees.
On the ground.
Another small funnel on the ground. We got multiple vortexes. Multi-vortexes.
It's moving away from us. We're good. We are in a Perfect.
Yeah, what about
spot.
lightning?
This is our
Yo,
first
DJ,
look
good to
at
see
what
you.
is called a sub-vortex.
We are reacting to
You
El
see,
Reno,
tornadoes are
largest
not
tornado in
exactly
history.
one single spiral into the air, but rather multiple strong vortices of wind spinning around a common center. Typically, these vortices are so close and similar in strength that they appear as one, but in this storm, the area of rotation is so large and has so much energy. These sub-vortices appear erratically and discretely under the base. Multiple smaller circulations converge and morph towards one main tornadic circulation, and the entire beast sways around unpredictably. If this isn't already confusing enough, the situation becomes more erratic as multiple instances of twins to even quadruplet tornadoes occur. The storm is currently moving at a moderate 20 miles per hour to the southeast. Remember this number for later. To the southeast of the storm, a tornado touring group called Tempest Tours, with multiple visitors, are watching the tornado. Mesmerized by it, the group's leaders are unaware of how close the actual tornado is, as the small subvortices dance around in random directions. In fact, the edge of the circulation is less than 3 minutes from them. The tour leader is watching the increasingly erratic vortices carefully. He expects to see the tornado moving from left to right, which would indicate the tornado is moving from west to east, the expected direction of motion. Instead, they see no motion. That's when they realize something terrifying. The tornado is moving directly towards the tour group. The tour leader immediately honks his horn to get the group back in the van. At this moment, they have less than 60 seconds to get out of the tornado's path.
Y'all better act like y'all got someplace to go.
Get in now. Get in now. Shut that door.
The tour group members jump into the vans, and the convoy bombs southwards to escape the tornado's path. Fortunately, they are able to outrun the vortex, a rare occurrence in comparison to others. The majority of chasers have positioned themselves to the south of.
Now, here's another thing about driving away from tornadoes or being in the middle of a storm. Trying to drive away from it, it feels like you're not going anywhere because you see the end of where the storm is and you see the clear skies in the distance, but as you're driving, it doesn't even look like you're getting close. It's like one of those instances you're in a dream and you see like an exit at a door and you're trying to run towards it, but you're not getting there at all. It's like that.
Of the tornado. This is because, again, the tornado should be moving to the northeast, but because of the sudden southeast motion, they find themselves scrambling to get out of the way of the powerful circulation. Due to the hundreds of chasers, mobility is severely hindered as traffic jams begin to form. The hype caused by the active season has caused a backlog of chasers itching to get as close to the tornado as possible. This is a grave mistake, as that decision, combined with the erratic motion and structure of the tornado, is creating one of the most dangerous environments around a tornado possible. Due east of the tornado at 6:09 p.m., storm chasers Brett Wright and Brandon Sullivan are watching the tornado only 3,000 yards away. The chaotic movement of the subvortices make it difficult to determine the movement of the tornado, but they assume the tornado is headed east to northeast, which would be essentially directly for them. Analyzing the situation, they decide the smartest possible thing to do would be to drive south, but this is a freak tornado, and the decision would place them in a deadly situation as winds begin to batter the vehicle.
Oh my gosh! Debris! Debris!
It's coming up! That whole thing's coming up!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Fuck with you.
Keep going, Andrew. Keep going. Keep going. Why is this guy stopping?
Watch that truck!
You may be confused as to why they waited until the tornado was so close to them, but the same illusion that almost killed the tour group has struck again, making the motion seem much less direct than usual. The wet roads and gusting winds mean their car is limited to max 40 miles per hour, a speed which is not at all fast enough to escape the massive growing wind field. As the strongest inflow winds feeding into the tornado strike them, a nearby farmhouse is torn apart, pelting their car with debris and shattering the windshield. They are just barely able to keep moving though, escaping the tornado by less than 40 seconds. At the same moment, exactly 1 mile north of Wright and Sullivan, the Twistex group is turning east onto Reno Road. Right now, the team is trying to get in the path of the intensifying tornado.
Why? 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 The team is trying to get in the path of the upcoming tornado. Why? Why? If it can rip a barn apart and send its pieces flying through the air, why would you want to be in the path of it? Okay, the tornado's moving in this direction. Let's get in front of it. That's like saying, hey, I've always wanted to see a train moving fast, so let's go to the railroad crossing and just stand in front of the train, going at full tilt, because I want to see what happens. Why? Why would you want to be in the path of a tornado? It doesn't even matter the size. It doesn't matter. A tornado is a tornado. It is a people killer. Can I be blunt? There has never been a tornado that has been safe for humans. Ever. The only tornado that you are ever safe from is one where you're not close to it. If you're if you're several miles away from a tornado, you're fine. But if you're deliberately driving in front of a tornado, that looks to be like one of the most powerful tornadoes to ever exist, what would possess you to drive in front of it? For science. Yeah, you want to know who else says that we're doing this for science? Every single person in a horror film or an alien movie that says, you think about the scientific achievements we could achieve with this. Samuel Jackson and company thought the same when they tried to make sharks super smart in Deep Blue Sea. Anyone who has tried to capture a xenomorph from the alien movies has died every single time because someone keeps thinking, it's for science. Not thinking that none of that matters if the thing you're researching kills you. Science is important, let's be honest here, but it's not more important than your life. Why would you want to get in front of this? You already know this is a massive tornado. Why would you want to get in front of it? I've gotten to where I usher the kittens to the basement when we... Hold on. When we have any kind of thunderstorms, too many times we've had a tornado with no warning. See? That's the difference between you and some of these storm chasers. You're smart. Huh, that thing could be dangerous. I'm not gonna risk it. Let's go someplace else. What drives them? Huh? Oh, we gotta get this footage before any other storm chaser does. Will any of that footage or data matter if you're not alive to give it to anybody? I'm just saying. And I say this as a person who will never go storm chasing whatsoever. I'm never gonna go storm chasing. Ever. I ain't gonna go out. If I know a storm is coming, especially if I'm streaming for you guys, hey, we got a storm coming up. If anything happens and I don't do my outro, then you know that something's going on for our storms, but I'll probably end this session early in order to make sure that everyone is good. And if I feel up to it, then I'll probably come back again. That's a precaution. That's a precautionary measure. Me and my family, we haven't been in a situation where a storm has came through and it's left irreparable damage to our living places or our neighborhood at all. But you don't take chances because storms are unpredictable. No matter how many times the weather will tell you, oh, there's going to be this. Oh, the weather's going to be this. Oh, it's going to be that. Weather is unpredictable. You cannot try and assume that, oh, this will be fine. Oh, it's not that bad. You never know! Because storms do not work on human time. They don't go by any human schedule. They just happen. So no. I'm so thankful that there aren't any tornadoes where you live or big storms. That's good, Mihai. That's very good. I'm sorry, I'm ranting. We need to continue with Twistex. Twistex.
By paralleling, right now, the team is trying to get in the path of the intensifying tornado by paralleling the tornado.
Here's the thing. I hope the volume is up a good volume because the dude says trying to get into the path of the intensifying. That means that this storm they are trying to get in the path of is growing larger. It's growing more powerful. It just started. And it's going to become even more powerful as time goes on. But you want to get in the front? The only tornado I don't mind getting in front of is the one in Just Cause 4. And you guys saw me fly in front of it. A lot of times I died. Other times I got flung all over the place. A tornado is a tornado. It is dangerous. You're not supposed to be getting in front of it. I don't care of its scientific significance.
From the north, their hope is to outrace it, allowing them to go by paralleling the tornado.
You said
from
what?
The north, their hope is to outrace it, allowing them to go by paralleling the tornado from the north. Their hope is to outrace it.
I'm sorry, what? Say that again?
Tornado by paralleling the tornado from the north. Their hope is to outrace it, allowing them to go by paralleling the tornado from the north. Their hope is to outrace it.
Their hope is to outrace the tornado? I'm gonna move on.
Allowing them to drive south ahead of it. As they follow the tornado, they no longer see a collection of subvortices like earlier, but instead a giant wedge, a tornado that's wider than it is tall. This doesn't mean that there aren't extreme subvortices though. In fact, they are just hidden inside the dust and debris. The only way to see where the subvortices are now would be by actually looking inside the storm, which is precisely what the crew in control of a mobile radar truck are doing. What they observe is very rare. For most normal tornadoes, the rotating core of the storm will exact its power into a single point. But here, the mesocyclone is so powerful, multiple distinct rotations are forming within the circulation. The wind speeds and erratic motion are alarming to the people inside the radar truck. Less than half a mile behind the Twistex crew, Reed Timmer and Team Dominator are also following the tornado. Storm chaser Ray Bohack is filming from within one of the team's 3 storm chasing vehicles. Dominator 1, he captures the monster in front of them. The massive wedge tornado can be seen in the center of the screen, with Team Twistex just up ahead, right next to the tornado. Unknown to the team though, they're in a very dangerous location.
You don't say! Bro, look at this. This is some Dark Souls boss background nonsense. This big old tornado is in front, and you see smaller ones circling around it. This looks like a boss. This looks like a boss. If I was playing Mario or Donkey Kong, this would be a living tornado that would throw smaller tornadoes at you, like either a Donkey Kong, Mario, or even Kirby. This thing has multiple tornadoes circling it. The big one. It has little. It's like a boss phase where you have to get rid of the ads around the boss in order to attack its health, or you attack its extra appendages to bring its shield down in order to hit the actual boss's health. This thing has smaller tornadoes circling around it like it's leading a posse. And y'all want to go in front?
They're in a very dangerous location. The radar truck records another vortex form over the El Reno airport. This vortex sweeps just behind the team when suddenly another vortex forms further to the southwest side of the wedge. Within the storm, there are now 3 or more visible vortices rotating around each other. The radar truck crew observes how the formation of these new tornadoes causes some crazy, unpredictable behavior. Here, the main wedge is pulled north by the forming vortex, lunging towards Reno Road, towards the TwistX crew. Inside TwistX's vehicle, Paul Samaras has a video camera and is capturing the encounter. While the footage they recorded is lost, the dialogue of the 3 crew members has been transcribed. Carl Young urges Tim to continue east to get ahead of the tornado.
We could pass it right now, Tim. It's no problem. Really. I mean, I have a clear shot.
But Tim
Fight or flight response has left the chat. Yeah. I'm not laughing at these individuals. For a moment, I sounded like Iago. Who told you we wanted to fly? Who told you we wanted to drive around all these tornadoes? Jafar, you gotta be kidding me. This is dangerous. I don't want to do any of this anymore. I don't want to go into a tornado. This is not what I signed up for. Look at what this dude's saying. We could pass it right now, Tim. It's no problem. The problem is you think it's no problem. See, you couldn't have me on the crew. There's too much black in me, too much black self-preservation, where I look at a tornado and go, you 2 miles too close. You are too close. You are 2 miles too close. We are couple, maybe like a 200 feet. We are 200 feet away from this thing. Just the outer area. That's too close. You need to be out far enough where you could see it with binoculars. That's safe because you ain't got to worry about winds. You ain't got to worry about debris. You ain't got to worry about death. Carl Young. We could pass it right now, Tim. It's no problem. Really? I mean, I have a clear shot. It's no problem at all. Don't worry. We'll be able to pass by this tornado. Don't even worry. It's fine. I am confident in my driving skills. Like, what? What do you mean? You're too close already. Don't worry. I've been doing this for years. It's okay. Don't even worry about it. I got my certified driver's license that clown you. Like, what? 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 What you mean? What you mean?
realizes something's wrong.
We've got debris in the air. That's the problem.
As the wedge curves towards them, the outer bands begin to impact them, pelting the car with debris.
We've got to turn to the north. That's good. We're gonna follow it around to the north and get out of here.
They turn north onto Reformatory Road, battling 70-mile-per-hour winds feeding into the tornado. While this is happening, a civilian named Richard Henderson is also on Reno Road, just ahead of TwistX. He had watched the tornado touch down 10 minutes prior, where he had snapped an image of the forming tornado on his cell phone to send to a friend. Before he made a phone call, Henderson says,
"I'm having fun. I'm riding around chasing storms."
Ladies and gentlemen, we found the least amount of common sense in the video so far. We have a civilian going in the range of the tornado. I thought the dude trying to drive close to it. I thought he was an issue. No, we got a regular civilian, not even trained. A new challenger. We got a regular civilian. Oh no. See, this is the reason why I love doing streams like this, because I have no chill when it comes to roasting people. But I'm having fun. I'm riding around chasing storms. And you're not even a storm chaser? You don't do this for a living? You're just a regular person? See, this is how people meet their end when they're so hung up on like, ooh, I can post this to social media. Oh, everyone's gonna think I'm so cool because I was chasing a storm. That's how your picture never gets back to anyone and no one ever hears from you again. Because you are messing with forces that you couldn't possibly understand or let alone control. But you want to get your little 5 minutes of fame. I'm having fun. I'm running around chasing storms. Meanwhile, the professional says like, no, we're about to go. We're getting out of here. Literally moments before. Also, subject, good to see you as well. I hope life has been treating you well. We literally just had the professional storm chaser say, hey, we're going to take this left and head north and get out of here. While they're trying to escape 70-mile-per-hour winds. But we got Richard Henderson going into the tornado, going into the range of the storm, saying, and his words are, I'm having fun, I'm riding around chasing storms. I'm having fun, I'm saying hi to the lions in the enclosure. I'm having fun, I decided to go swimming with these Nile crocodiles. I'm having fun, and I'm playing with a handful of blue ring octopus. I'm having fun, and I decided to play hopscotch with a stonefish. I'm having fun, and I decided to rub my skin and play with poison dart frogs. Which one of those sound fun to any of you? These are some of the biggest idiots I've ever seen, yet I somehow have more respect for them than some of today's biggest influencers. Same thing about people mess around with the supernaturals. Leave that supernatural alone. It's called super for a reason. Don't be messing with things you don't understand. Don't be letting these movies and stuff fool you. Don't be tapping into nothing. Don't be tapping into nothing, cursing your house, cursing your spirits and your souls. Don't be messing with none of that. Happy to be here. Been inside the hospital for the last 2 weeks. My kidney got itchy. Oh my goodness. Subject, you okay? You alright? I hope everything's alright. Please, get better soon. Yeah, like everyone else is saying, get better soon. I won't call them idiots, they just crazy. Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Henderson's friend expressed concern,
You better stop doing that.
but Henderson kept chasing.
Smart friend! Smart friend! Smart friend! Finally! We don't have ones that are like, yeah, man, go crazy. Go inside the storm. Take some pictures. I'm glad that this is a friend who's more concerned about his friend than the pictures his friend is taking. I'm fine now. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good to hear. Also, excited for Space Marine 2 Siege Mode update that drops this week. Woohoo!
Continuing east on Reno Road.
You better stop doing that.
But Henderson kept chasing, continuing east on Reno Road. When the tornado made its launch north, Henderson kept pushing eastwards. The friend recalls hearing popping noises as debris hit Henderson's car. Soon, the call went dead. If the wedge keeps going north, both Twistex and Henderson won't just be hit by debris, but be directly struck by the violent tornado. In some miracle, the wedge decides to make a complete loop and begins to head south again. This sudden loop allowed Twistex to escape north, where they can turn west onto 10th Street to make another attempt at safely intercepting the tornado. The dark mass now deviates slightly to the east, and with this change in path, a change in speed. The tornado is no longer moving at the reasonable 20 miles per hour from the beginning of its life. Now, it's racing eastwards at more than 50 miles per hour. Any chaser east of the tornado now suddenly finds themselves escaping a deadly situation. There's a huge issue though. There are now potentially hundreds of chasers clogging the wet dirt roads, making it practically impossible to get out of the way. One chaser who finds himself stuck in the chaser traffic jam is Skip Talbot. He's in a group of chasers watching the storm approach from the intersection of 15th and Country Club Road. Up until now, dust has obscured the tornado from sight, except when lightning strikes briefly, illuminating the approaching circulation from behind. But even as the tornado closes, the heavy rain hides the chaotic Ferris wheel of vortices from sight. The group stays, waiting to gain a visual on the tornado. After all, the tornado is still about 2 miles away, but gradually, Talbot notices something unusual. He watches as the rain curtains sweep from left to right at increasingly fast speeds. The rain must be rushing around at more than 100 miles per hour. This triggers a sudden epiphany. The rain is the tornado. The entire area is starting to gain tornadic winds. The group makes the smart decision to scramble east. As they turn onto 15th Street, they join a bumper-to-bumper line of chasers, all running for their lives. Not everyone in this line is a chaser.
Oh yeah, how everyone feeling about Annabelle being stolen? Like the actual doll? Don't be messing with no cursed objects. Don't be messing with no cursed stuff.
Though, a couple minutes before, local resident Billy O'Neill and his son-in-law Jose Bonilla are watching the approaching tornado. Bonilla urges O'Neill to get into the neighbor's storm cellar, but he's too claustrophobic. Because of this, the pair decide to try and outrun the tornado in their car. They drive south towards 15th Street, where they see the line of chasers fleeing the approaching funnel. O'Neill stops and waves on the chasers, even as the tornado approaches closer and closer. Eventually, the last car passes, and they're able to turn onto 15th Street. But the tornado is moving way too fast. Unfortunately, there's no chance of escape. Ahead of them, they see a pickup truck turn south onto a dirt road. Inside is the driver, Dustin Heath Bridges, and passenger Wyatt Mindeman. They have both been caught in the storm whilst heading towards the nearby town of Yukon. O'Neill follows them in a last-ditch attempt to get out of the tornado's path. It's too late though. Power lines are brought down onto Bridges' truck, trapping both cars as the tornado overtakes them. Bonilla recalls, all the windows blew out. We started rolling. It was like slow motion. Both cars roll at least 150 yards before they come to a stop, right side up on a completely different road. Bonilla climbs out of their door and hears screaming from Bridges' pickup. He runs over to find Bridges hanging out at the door by his seatbelt. Mindeman is sat with a crushed leg, unable to help him. Bonilla rushes back to O'Neill to get help, but when he arrives, he realizes O'Neill has passed away. Bonilla grabs a piece of broken glass to cut Bridges free from his seatbelt. Paramedics soon descend on the scene, but when they arrive, Bridges has gone unresponsive. He and O'Neill are pronounced dead at the scene, the first deaths attributed to the tornado. 1 mile north on Reno Road, there is another line of chasers fleeing eastwards. The last person in this traffic is the previously mentioned Richard Henderson. Henderson was able to make ground on the tornado when it looped behind him, but now it's closing on him again. The crowd of vehicles now converge on Highway 81, a major road running north to south. Here, many chasers make a life or death decision, continue east and hope they can outrun the tornado on the dirt roads, or turn south onto Highway 81 and hope they can outrun the tornado before it hits them. Skip Talbot and Richard Henderson make the decision to continue fleeing east. At the same time, half a mile north of Henderson, a group of chasers from the Weather Channel are about to make a different decision. A decision that may be the biggest mistake of their lives. The Weather Channel team is made up of 3 vehicles. The lead vehicle is driven by Kevin Parrish, which is then followed by a vehicle named the Bettsmobile because it is operated by Mike Betts, a Weather Channel reporter. Bet's producer, Austin Anderson, and a cameraman named Brad Reynolds also accompany him. The convoy stops just north of Reno Road so Betts can make a live broadcast as the tornado approaches from the southwest.
All right,
It's
that's
not
Simon
worth
Brewer,
it.
one of the storm riders, and I think we're trying to get a hold of Mike Bettis. He's out there in the field. I believe this is the Mike shot here.
That's the tornado hunt team.
Hey, Mike, I think he's just now
Well, he's
plugging
got a
in.
tornado behind him.
Yeah, Mike, can you hear us?
Guys, that's it. Right there. There's the tornado. We are just north of Union City, south of El Reno, south of I-40. Cops have blocked off 81 at this point and not letting traffic go southbound because the path of the tornado could come right over top of Union City or pass very close to it. Look at that monster. This is a huge tornado. If you live in Union City, south of El Reno, you have to take shelter. We may actually quickly try to get in our cars and get south of this. That'd be the safest place to do that. I think we have to go now in order to stay ahead of this and not get run over by it. So guys, I think we're gonna get back in our cars. We're gonna try to keep our cameras on top of this and we're gonna roll just to stay safe, okay? We'll be back with you in just a minute, but huge, violent tornado right now approaching Union City, south of El Reno, Oklahoma.
Their decision to drive south seems like a reasonable idea. To their north and west, giant, record-sized hail is falling. Traveling east would
Look
keep
at how
them in
much of the
potential
storm
path
is
of a tornado.
affecting the
So
state.
booking it south towards clear air is by far the most appealing option. Sadly, once again, illusions hide the danger they're about to put themselves in. You see, the tornado is so large, it seems like it's barely moving yet again. But again, when a tornado doesn't appear to be moving, usually it's moving towards you. This illusion likely makes the team believe they are directly in the path, prompting the Weather Channel convoy to head south rather than
Welcome
stay
back,
put.
Kitty.
The truth is,
Why
the tornado
So what is the common practice of weathermen or weatherwomen when they go outside and they see a tornado and they're close enough where they can first of all, first thing that should be telling you this is a bad idea is when the tornado no longer looks like it's moving left or right, but it looks like it's still. That means it's heading straight towards you. There should be some level of self-preservation that lets you know that, this is a bad idea. Now, another thing. Like I said, if a tornado's not moving left or right, it's more than likely moving towards you or away from you. But if it's not moving and it looks like it's getting bigger without moving in either one of those directions, don't try to get past it into clearer skies when it's already heading towards you and its area of effect is bigger than you think. What do they teach? Now, I know this was back in 2013, so, 20, at least like 10 years later. 10 years later! Not 20, because that would be 2033. But 10 years later. I'm just wondering. You know what? We ain't even done with this video yet. Let's keep watching.
is now
I feel like I may rant some more.
due east at 55 miles per hour. But it's not just moving at 55 miles per hour, because as well as this, the tornado's size is expanding faster now than
We just learned this back when we were talking about Richard Henderson. The storm, when Twist X decided, you know what, let's try and get ahead of the storm, back when he said that the storm was intensifying. Now, with this news crew, the storm is expanding. It's like one of those games where you play on your phones, those cheap games the type of games that end in .io, where you eat a whole bunch of stuff and you just grow larger and larger, like a black hole simulator or whatever. And over time, you get larger and larger to the point where you start from being able to eat blades of grass to being able to consume entire buildings. This thing is expanding. So your chances of getting past it are now even slimmer than before because now its AoE has grown even larger.
any tornado in history.
I almost said larger, not larger, but larger.
In less than 60 seconds, the wind field expands from 1 mile to 2 miles in width. This means the tornado is literally expanding towards Highway 81 at 30 miles per hour. Combining these values, the tornado's forward speed is coming directly at them at over 80 miles per hour. As the convoy begins to drive south, they quickly realize their mistake. The rain begins to clear, once again exposing the erratic multi-vortex core. The funnel is smaller in size now, but the contraction of the core has actually made the winds stronger. Aerial imagery from after the tornado shows the path of scouring the tornado was creating at this time. But even though the funnel is nearly a mile away, the wind field is beginning to cross the highway ahead of them. They pick up speed, traveling south at over 70 miles per hour, but still, the tornado is outpacing them. Parrish watches as dozens of vortices sweep towards them. It's now less than 300 yards away. Winds into the storm suddenly spike to more than 120 miles per hour, lifting and slamming his car into the central divider before
When your car starts lifting from winds, you've made a mistake. When your car is lifting, you've made a mistake.
sucking it into the roadside ditch. Behind him, Beth's is filming.
Hold on, brothers. Hold on. Everybody just go. Just keep going if you can. Keep going.
Parrish can be seen in the ditch just before the winds of the Betsmobile are smashed in as the core passes directly overhead.
Everybody duck down. Everybody duck down.
Beth's camera is ejected from a window upon impact, but continues filming. The Betsmobile can be seen rolling away, with the 3 occupants still inside. To the north, a separate tour group operated by Randy Walton is attempting to navigate through the traffic jam of chasers on Reno Road. Their tour group is about 30 seconds ahead of Henderson, but instead of continuing east like Henderson, they turn north. 50 seconds later, they approach the intersection of Highway 81 and a road named Reuter Road. At this exact same time, the TwistX crew is now approaching Highway 81. Neither TwistX nor Henderson are aware of the incredible speeds at which the tornado has expanded eastwards. Tim says,
"We're probably gonna have to cross 81 if this road is good, and then try and drop down if we got some viable roads."
They pull up behind a Toyota Yaris. The driver is storm chaser Dan Robinson. Robinson has a rear dash cam rolling, filming TwistX right behind him. Robinson looks south and also sees the tornado crossing the highway. This convinces him to continue east onto Reuter Road. TwistX decides the same. Randy Walton records Robinson's Yaris crossing 81, followed by the TwistX crew's white Chevrolet Cobalt. Walton and his group would have no clue they were recording the last moments of the TwistX crew.
They're all about to die. Oh, I see what you meant by scary. So, me and my warnings about the TwistX crew, they're not gonna make it.
Crossing 81, followed by the TwistX crew's white Chevrolet Cobalt. Walton and his group would have no clue they were recording the last moments of the TwistX crew. Thinking quickly, Walton also decides to turn onto Reuter behind them.
Right on 81. Yeah. Copy. Go slow. Copy. Go to the highway, back where we came from and go keep going where we're going. Turn around? 10-4, turn around, and then we're going to go back the exact same way we were just going.
This decision to turn around, without a doubt, saved their lives. But Dan and TwistX are continuing down Reuter. To the south, Henderson is still stuck behind the line of chasers on Reno Road. After the powerful core strikes the Weather Channel convoy, it begins to do something that no chaser was expecting. It begins to move north. The heavy rain is not only...
Whoa! That's bad! Cause TwistX and the crew just went north and now the storm is heading north. Nah, I'm kind of drawn in by this now, but
slowing down the line of chasers in front of him, but it's also completely obscuring the tornado that's rapidly approaching him. As far as he's aware, the tornado is still a mile to his south, where he last spotted it, but in an instant, the winds begin to roar and debris begins to pelt his vehicle. There is quite literally no time to react to what's happening, as the tornado roars just behind him, east of the intersection of Alpheldale and Reno roads. His car is lifted and flung off the side of the road. He disappears into the darkness. Emily Sutton, a chaser off the side of the road. He disappears into the darkness. His car is lifted and flung off the side of the road. He disappears into the darkness. His car is lifted and flung off the side of the road. He disappears into the darkness.
And the last thing he said to his friend was, "I'm having fun, I'm chasing storms." You don't be playing with storms like this!
Emily Sutton, a chaser just ahead of Robinson, films the core once again revealing itself. The funnel is a stovepipe shape, no more than 250 yards wide at its base, but the wind field is still growing. To the north, Twistex still can't see the tornado. Heavy rain to their south means it's essentially invisible, and determining its motion is impossible. They can only assume it's continuing eastwards.
This thing is moving 40 miles an hour, 30 to 40 miles an hour to the east.
Tim is likely guessing here, as the tornado is much closer and moving much faster. As the rain begins to clear, it's hard to discern what exactly is to their south.
No, I see it. Well, maybe I don't.
Tim looks up the road. Dan Robinson's car is just ahead, and rain bands begin to sweep towards the road. He glances back towards the massive rain, where the funnel is beginning to reveal itself. The air around him grows, quote, eerily calm.
There's no rain here. Actually, I think we're in a bad spot.
These are the last words that we verifiably have of the Twistex crew before the camera recording cuts off. It had used all of its storage, but at this point, the tornado is 90 seconds away. Robinson's rear dashcam continues to capture the white Chevy Cobalt. He also begins to realize what's happening.
What is that? What is that? It looks like the tornado. The car won't go. I've got to get out of whatever this is. The car just isn't going.
Twistex's Chevy, with less power than Robinson's Toyota, falls behind him. The rear dashcam captures the car disappearing from a pair of headlights to a single speck of light, and soon the tiny speck of light is extinguished. The wall of darkness has consumed the road. Oklahoma Highway Patrol Officer Betsy Randolph is nearby and is listening to her radio when she hears a disturbing shout. "We're going to die, we're going to die." The transmission went dead immediately afterwards. It is believed that this transmission was from the Twistex vehicle, as the main circulation overtook their car. By the time Robinson pulls clear of the tornado, it has grown to its full width, an incredible 2.6 miles wide. The rain has fully cleared, and now the inner mechanisms of the disgusting monster can be seen. Huge sub-vortices sweep around at incredible speeds. The mobile radar truck from earlier has paralleled the tornado to the north on Interstate 40 and is watching the tornado approach. As the radar scans the tornado, they record something incredible. Inside the circulation, wind speeds of 296 miles per hour, the second highest wind speeds ever, are measured. Moments later, a satellite tornado arcs around the south side of the main one with a ground speed of 175 miles per hour. This is the highest forward speed ever recorded for a tornado. Within minutes, this tornado has come close to or has broken numerous records. It continues moving northeast, forcing the radar team to begin to flee east on I-40. But here, they realize the magnitude of the disaster that is about to unfold. I-40 is a major highway that is packed with civilians and storm chasers alike. An EF5 strength tornado, with winds approaching 300 miles per hour here, could kill hundreds. Worse yet, if the tornado continues to track east, it will enter Oklahoma City. Panic begins to ensue in the Oklahoma City
All right, I'm back. I'm back. Family was talking about food. This is terrifying. This is terrifying. I was telling my other sister Jazz that hey, looking at some tornado videos, and she says like you couldn't pay me to go back to living in Oklahoma again because of the storms that we've been through before. So, but this
Unfold. I-40 is a major highway that is packed with civilians and storm chasers alike. An EF5 strength tornado, with winds approaching 300 miles per hour here, could kill hundreds. Worse yet, if the tornado continues to track east, it will enter Oklahoma City. Panic begins to ensue in the Oklahoma City metro area. Residents haven't even begun to clean up from the EF5 and more the week before, and now an even larger storm is closing in on the city. The panic only worsens the mob of cars congesting the interstate. But even when the situation seems like it couldn't get any worse, the lead newscaster for the Metro, Mike Morgan, says this live on air.
Need to be, if you can go south right now, if you don't feel safe, go south. Get out of its way. Reed Timmer is on that. Reed, what do you have?
This dire language prompts tens of thousands more to attempt to flee the area towards the south, bringing the area's already heavily congested traffic to a complete standstill. Thousands are now stuck in the path of this massive, violent tornado. Its erratic movement means forecasters have no idea what it's about to do next. If it continues eastward, it will follow I-40, where hundreds of cars are stuck. The outcome of a violent tornado hitting this traffic jam could be a death toll in the hundreds. The tornado is once again hidden by rain as it approaches I-40. Sub-vortices still sweep around the main circulation, one of which swipes a small neighborhood of homes. Fortunately, the fast-forward speed of the sub-vortex spares total destruction of the area. As the tornado crosses I-40, it loops before heading due east. Following the interstate, hundreds of cars and structures are now in the path. And beyond the interstate, the densely populated suburbs of the Oklahoma City metro are now in direct sight. It's not long until chaos begins to ensue on the interstate. Numerous 18-wheeler trucks were toppled. People's cars were picked up and rolled, and while many were able to survive, this luck would not last. Maria Martin, her husband, and their 3 children had pulled over their minivan onto the side of the interstate, hoping the tornado would pass by. Only the husband and 2 of the children were still inside the vehicle, injured but alive. Maria and her 17-day-old baby passed away. Just as the core of the tornado inches near the highway, a miracle seems to occur. The circulation begins to become increasingly messy and is weakening. Within a couple of seconds, the tornado would disappear into nothing. As the storm passes, law enforcement and chasers comb over the damage path, racing nightfall to try and help those affected by the tornado. Fortunately, no structures were hit by the strongest winds in the tornado. If they had, EF5 damage could have easily been inflicted and more people could have died. But the real tragedies that occurred during the tornado were in vehicles. Along Highway 81 and I-40, dozens of cars have been flipped or rolled, but so far, no deaths have been reported. Canadian County Sheriff's Deputy Doug Green is one of the people assisting in search and rescue. He drives down Reuter Road when he spies something in a canola patch. He approaches the mangled heap of metal to find the body of Tim Samaras. By the next morning, the bodies of Paul Samaras and Carl Young will also be recovered after they are found ejected from the vehicle. Soon, Richard Henderson is also added to the list of fatalities attributed to the tornado, making the official death toll 8. Before today, no tornado had ever killed a storm chaser, but this one alone had killed 4, including a veteran chase group. Tim Samaras was well respected in the chase community, and although his work involved venturing close to one of the most dangerous places on the surface of the planet, he was regarded as someone who always put safety first. But the record-breaking and erratic nature of this tornado meant that no chaser was safe, and has become a historic footnote in how little we understand about the behavior of tornadoes.
wow. See, I'm glad that I don't live in Oklahoma anymore or any other states where tornadoes are incredibly prevalent. Wow. Ooh, here's one. I'm looking at some of these comments. The fact that this tornado killed the tornado chaser that nearly all other professional chasers regarded as the safest, most cautious chaser in history should speak volumes about just how unpredictable and deadly this tornado really was. When the safest storm chaser, the safest, most cautious storm chaser that everyone looks up to in terms of safety, gets taken out by a tornado despite his prestige, that's a tornado of gigantic proportions. If the tornado appears to not be moving, then it's moving towards you, never fails. Actually, I think we're in a bad spot as such a chilling line. The fact that watching it now, the path didn't even seem unpredictable. It looked as if it literally went wherever the crowd was, it was terrifying. See, I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that. Am I the only one who noticed how the storm kept moving towards where the people were trying to escape to? They tried to pivot. Twist-X tried to pivot away from the tornado, and the tornado still went in that. And the tornado changed directions and still took them out. I can't be the only one who thought that the tornado was chasing the tornado chasers. And people think tornadoes going after people in the Twister movies is ridiculous. People think like, oh, there's no way a storm would chase after you. The El Reno tornado is a living example of tornado still going after. And mind you, tornadoes don't have any conscious thought. Obviously, it's just a storm. But the fact that it still moved in the direction of where everyone went. And can you imagine? Can you imagine being overtaken by the tornado and you inside of a car are forcibly sucked out of your car and thrown with intense wind and debris all over the place? Nope, that's why I sent it to you. Yeah, this was weather is crazy. Ooh, here's one. I was an Uber driver in OKC during the pandemic. I went to Moore for a drop-off, and I commented on how everything looked brand new. My rider was like, yeah, man, that's because Moore was deleted a few years ago. When you go to Moore and everything is brand new, because this tornado here, Moore, the most destructive tornado ever recorded, basically wiped that entire county off the map. Give me a sec. I need to change this. I need to change this title. I need to change this title for this stream, because we're about to watch the Moore tornado, the most destructive tornado ever recorded. So let me change the title. El Reno, largest tornado in history, and more. And I don't mean more as in Moore. I mean more as in more tornadoes. Yeah, we're gonna check out the Moore tornado. That video's not as long as the El Reno one,
What
but
would you
this
do
one should be
if one of
interesting
the
as well.
strongest tornadoes ever was tearing through your neighborhood,
All right. About in it, tearing up
destroying your school, your hospital, and before you even had time to process what was happening, it vanished.
That was it right there. That's what's left of it. And you can see all the housing additions that are just all
A massive tornado tears through central Oklahoma, just to the east of the Oklahoma City metro area. The sparsely populated forests near Lake Thunderbird lessen the impact as the EF4 tornado carves through the terrain. Sadly, 2 people would be killed, but this destruction did not come without warning. In fact, a well-forecasted, multi-day tornado outbreak was in progress, and it was all due to this. This is a trough, a wave of low pressure sweeping across the United States. This trough is fairly wide and moving quite slowly, allowing specific ingredients in the atmosphere to conglomerate in one area, such as 1. CAPE, the convective available potential energy, or the energy needed for storms to form and persist. 2. Wind shear, strong low-level winds which allow storms to organize and spin. And 3. Moisture, needed to spread heat and fuel storms. Forecasters at the National Weather Service noticed these ingredients and put out a plethora of outlooks for the following days. So far, the outlooks for intense tornadoes.
You know, when we were hit by the tornado year before last, and honest, only found out because of the house beacon. It hit at late 10 p.m., but I didn't find my phone until almost 10 hours later. Wow. Wow.
Have been correct, but the next day, May 20th, was looking more interesting than scary. A 10% outlook for tornadoes was drawn around a corridor from Oklahoma to Arkansas. From an overall perspective, the next day would be one of the more unsure days of the whole system. Moore, Oklahoma is a pretty average suburban community from the outside, essentially just a sprawling appendage to the much larger Oklahoma City. But any resident that has lived there for a while knows Moore is anything but average, and it all usually comes down to one date. May 3rd, 1999, one of the strongest tornadoes ever tears through the heart of Moore, Oklahoma. May 3rd became sort of a staple for locals. The destruction was unheard of, and the community took years to recover. Other tornadoes continued to occur in Moore, such as in 2003 and in 2010, but nothing could ever compare to the sheer devastation of May 3rd.
Take the extra minute or two.
I want to take a brief moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, Displate. Like many of you, I've dealt with the limitations of your average poster. That's why I've partnered with Displate. These aren't standard posters.
This was 6
They're
months ago.
high-quality metal prints that solve tons of problems with modern wall art. If you're in a rental space or don't want to damage your walls, Displates mount without any tools or holes, using a clever magnetic system that leaves no marks. The print quality is exceptional, especially with their licensed collections. With over 2 million designs available, there's something meaningful for basically every space. I really
I guess
like
it's
the
a
black
bit
and
too
white
late
Storm
for
one.
me to start
Right
covering
now,
up my
Displate
face
is
in order to
offering
make
their
my
biggest discount of the
true
year, up to
facial
44%
identity seem a
off of
bit
your
more
order,
mysterious,
including the new
right?
texture
I guess it's
designs
too
for
late
the
for that.
first time ever. Just visit the link on screen or use code TornadoTRX at checkout. Now back
I
to the
wonder
video.
if I should get a
The
display.
sun is shining in Oklahoma. The 10%
Have something
risk for
about
tornadoes
Borderlands
remains
or-
over the state,
or,
but
Donkey
things really
Kong on my
aren't looking
wall.
too extreme, and it appeared there was nothing special going on at face value. However, underneath the surface, the atmosphere wasn't playing by the rules. Currently, the wind shear, which provided storms with rotation, was remarkably unimpressive, especially near the surface, meaning any storm that would form would have trouble rotating, and as a result, have trouble forming a tornado. But sometimes strange things occur. Experts just didn't know it yet. Currently, a cold front sprawls across the risk area. Colliding with the cold front, another boundary
Get a shadow one? Like what, a shadow soldier from solo leveling?
boundary called a dry line sits. These fronts allow storms to form along them, and at 1 o'clock, multiple cells begin to form along the dry line in South Oklahoma. Most storm chasers are situated to the south of the metro area, where these forming storms seem to have the best chance, if any, of producing a tornado. Unfortunately for these chasers, the storms are struggling a lot. Even though the high amounts of energy in the atmosphere allow them to form and mature, the wind shear is just too weak and they are unable to rotate strongly. Up towards the north, multiple rain showers pop up fairly close to the two colliding boundaries, making for a rather sporadic mess of air, moving in all sorts of directions around this area. However, a secret pocket of rapidly moving air, essentially an anomaly, was intensifying around the cells, and forecasters had no idea. As the cells continued to grow, the northern storms of the cluster shoved the southern cell away from its north motion to a more southeast motion. All of this unpredictable atmospheric chaos was doing something very strange to the southern storm, and a freak accident was about to occur. Southwest of Moore, Jennifer Vargas steps outside the Newcastle, Oklahoma Walmart, where she looks up and spots clouds ahead, rapidly carouseling. She begins to film what she's seeing. Just 30 seconds later, Newcastle law enforcement also notices the rotation, and tornado sirens in the general area go off.
See, the thing is, it's sped up, but you can see the light posts at the
Across
Walmart.
the highway,
You can
in
see them
another parking
shaking
lot,
from the
amateur
wind.
storm chaser Charles Cook is filming the rotation as well. That's when he notices a small nub protruding from the clouds. As the funnel cloud continues to stretch towards the ground, tiny swirls of wind can be seen brushing the field in front of him. The tornado is incredibly weak, knocking down small trees and damaging roofs. It also struggles to actually condense to the ground. Charles records as the tornado fully forms multiple times before picking back up. Michael Lynn, another storm chaser, also notices the rotation behind a tree line. He begins to drive down the interstate, and as the funnel comes into view, he watches as, without warning, the vortex plants firmly to the ground.
Maybe more, there looks like there may be another tornado. There looks like there may be another tornado to my north. I have to stop. This thing is getting bigger and bigger. This thing is getting large. It's moving fast. I'm all over this. We got power flashes. We got a major tornado west of.
In under 30 seconds, the tornado went from hardly brushing the ground to a thick stovepipe launching debris. It doesn't stop intensifying as it crosses the road right in front of Michael.
Be in the shelter. I can't move. I've got this thing. I'm west of this tornado. This thing is huge. It's taking the May 3rd path. It's going right into Moore. Call her right now. Bye.
Directly in its path is a neighborhood of a large country club homes. As it impacts the first home in the neighborhood, something incredibly unexpected happens. The tornado sweeps the entire home off of its foundation. Grass and soil under the vortex now begin to be ripped up.
Roger would be playing Super Mario Odyssey on his Switch 2 right now, wouldn't he? I just beat the game yesterday.
In a process known as ground scouring, as 3 more homes are completely flattened. Not only is this similar to the damage associated with some of the strongest tornadoes ever, just 200 yards back, the only damage the tornado was able to do was knock over a fence. It's as if as the tornado crossed the road, some supernatural force rapidly fueled the storm. And unless the tornado stopped as quickly as it started, every possible path would bring it directly into Moore, Oklahoma. Michael realizes the gravity of the situation. He watches the tornado continue to tear up the neighborhood, cloaking itself in a cloud of insulation and wood.
It's incredible. I've got it. It's taking on.
Need to go?
It's taking on. We're getting major damage.
I'm working.
Major damage.
As the tornado moves,
I'm working. Me watching another YouTuber ain't more important than me working. This is my job. Roger can do his. It's fine. It's fine. I'm doing my job. This is how I get paid.
Onwards towards the
It ain't like I gotta attend the stream or anything. It's just him messing with Super Mario Odyssey on his own Switch 2, which you guys have already seen me do. So, no, it's not like I gotta go there. It's not like I have to it's not important. It's not important for me to show up there. I'm working. I'm working.
Canadian River. Michael takes off in pursuit of the tornado, racing it towards more. At the same time, all 3 local news stations are broadcasting live views of the intensifying tornado, which has now expanded into a large wedge shape. The broadcasts show the tornado approaching Interstate 44, which stretches over the Canadian River. Beside the interstate is the decommissioned US 62 bridge. Even though this heavy steel bridge is attached to the ground by concrete mounts, as the tornado slams into the interstate, large segments of the bridge are lifted off their mounts and are shunted over the road, blocking the southbound lane on the interstate. The vortex then crosses over a racetrack, mangling everything on the property and eyeing its next set of homes along 157th Street. The core begins to scour the grass, leaving dark streaks along the ground. Only 400 yards away, the homes on Drexel Avenue are the next structures to experience the full wrath of the now monster. Unlike the previous homes that were destroyed, these homes are well-built brick structures, which makes what happens next even more terrifying. The first 4 homes to experience the tornado's wrath are grazed by the north edge of the tornado's core, and yet they still buckle and collapse, only leaving a few walls standing. But the next 2 homes are much less fortunate, being directly impacted by the core. Next to the homes, a grove of trees is completely annihilated, leaving nothing but a pile of debarked trunks, and a car is shredded and thrown into the pile, leaving
Wind so strong it ripped the bark off the trees. Wind so strong it ripped the bark off the trees. All the bark. Not just one side, all of the bark. Like eating the skin off of a drumstick.
no trace of its existence apart from an engine block and a mangled part of the frame. The most extreme damage here was actually the southwest home, however. Here, the well-built home is swept off its foundation, leaving a bare foundation slab. It is evident that the tornado is likely very close to EF5 intensity, and now even more homes are in immediate danger. Michael Lynn is still racing the tornado towards more, but he's being slowed down by strong winds and damage.
I'm just following this thing. I feel so powerless. It's gonna take out everything in its path.
The tornado is also starting to drift north.
Ate the bark, ate the ground, ate the car. It ate everything. Remember those games I told you about on mobile? This is essentially that tornado.
Cutting off his path down 149th towards more. It's during this jog north, the tornado reaches May Avenue, which marks a neighborhood of very large and well-built homes. Homes this size are much more resilient to tornadic winds than a regular home, but even with the odds stacked in their favor, nothing stands a chance. Cars and trees are once again mangled, and debris is piled and swept, turning the once affluent street into a wasteland. In one home, the residents sought refuge in a bedroom closet, but with the tornado this strength, it's nearly unsurvivable unless you're underground. As the owners are hit, they're hospitalized, but miraculously survive. As the tornado crawls over the neighborhood, the northern edge of the tornado brings down power lines over 149th Street, blocking Michael Lynn's pursuit of the tornado. To reach Moore and his daughter, he reluctantly has to double back and take a different route to continue to race there. At the same time, another car from the other side of the tornado is racing towards it. Nathan Mobley had caught sight of the tornado touching down from within Moore. It is now racing west to get a closer look. As he closes the gap, he approaches the intersection of 164th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue. The tornado is now incredibly violent, and the motion is incredible. Nathan watches as the tornado barrels into Foreman Drive. 3 large homes located here are decimated, and their debris is smeared across the ground in a process called windrowing, indicating the core has intensified even more. As the tornado crosses Country Edge Drive, another batch of homes are torn down and windrowed into a creek, and as the tornado barely misses a new development of homes to the north, a collection of 8 oil tanks finds themselves in the path of the tornado. As the core passes over the storage facility, the site is completely decimated. 4 of the massive and heavy oil tanks remain at the site, but another 4 have completely disappeared somewhere inside the tornado. They have now become giant missiles and are being carried further and further away from their...
What? 4 whole oil tankers just get yanked up and are now just flying around inside of this tornado. And all it takes is for one of these oil tankers to go outside of its rotational pull for a full-on metallic, thick, heavy oil tanker to come crashing down who knows where. And since it's an oil tanker and has oil inside, there's a chance that such an impact from it could ignite it and cause an explosion.
their origin point. One is dropped over 200 yards away, but the other 3 would remain aloft for much longer. The tornado crosses the intersection of Western and 149th Street and into the Orr family farm in the Celestial Acres horse training area, a large complex of stables, family attractions, and brick buildings. This is where the tornado would arguably cause some of the most extreme damage conceivable. As the tornado closes in on the farm, the forward motion of the tornado slows and almost stalls, allowing the tornado to sit on top of the area. The result of this is almost like a blender. Large brick structures are pulverized, and their debris is windrowed as the vortex edges forwards. Up to 100 horses are killed as their accompanying stables disappear, and a 30-foot propane tank is picked up and lofted, joining the oil tanks that are still in the air. To the south, the tornado's southern edge is just barely impacting part of the Moore suburbs. Only 200 yards separate this neighborhood from the center of the tornado, but extreme damage is inflicted to the roofs and walls of the homes. Luck has run out for the tornado's track towards town, as the Orr family farm was the only thing separating the tornado from the densely populated neighborhoods of Moore. The tornado, now nearly a mile wide, crosses over Western Avenue, marking the end of its journey through scattered properties. What lay ahead was an unbroken grid of homes, businesses, and schools. No more gaps between targets, no more near misses, and first in its path stood Briarwood Elementary. Inside the school, one of the teachers, Robin Jajits, films on her phone as she protects her students from the winds. Entire sections of the school collapse as the roof above them buckles, and one of the oil tanks that was still in the air comes crashing down next to the school. The bathrooms in Briarwood, in nothing short of a miracle, held up to the over 200-mile.
The realization you just had, it says it all. Yeah. That there's nothing in between. There was nothing in between this storm. Just residential house after residential house, and in the front was a school with children inside. Everything after that, nothing but homes. No open space, just homes.
per hour winds, saving every single life in the school. The rest of the building, however, which was constructed out of pure brick and steel, was razed to the ground. The tornado passing the elementary school meant it was now tearing directly through packed homes, and destruction that followed was genuinely mind-blowing. The tornado sweeps or flattens everything in its core. Genuinely mind-blowing. The tornado sweeps or flattens everything in its quarter-mile wide core.
Look at that. There's nothing standing. You can see the horizon. That's how much this tornado cleared and destroyed everything. You can see clear off into the distance.
In one home near the school, two sisters, Karina and Sydney Vargas, are killed while sheltering in their bathtub. In another, a mom passed away when her home collapsed over her. Despite the forewarning of the tornado, there's just no way to properly prepare for an EF5 tornado without a shelter. In the Briarwood neighborhood, over 13 homes were completely swept from their foundations, and over 100 were fully destroyed. The propane tank from the Orr family farm lands in the destruction after being in the air for half a mile, while a third oil tank lands near Santa Fe Avenue, over a mile from its origin point. At the time of the tornado survey, the fourth oil tank had not been found. Crossing Santa Fe Avenue, the damage did not cease. Hundreds more homes were destroyed, with some basically turned to powder. The funnel was full of so much debris, trees were basically sandpapered to stubs, and bushes near homes were skinned of their bark. Thousands of cars were also repeatedly lofted and mangled. The tornado's track was deviating here as well, changing from its essentially perfectly straight path to a more northeastern direction. This shift in the path length was far from a good thing, as it was now heading for the Plaza Towers subdivision, where the Plaza Towers Elementary School stood in the very center. As the tornado continued to crawl towards the school, it only seemed to increase in intensity. The ground in a field next to the school began to be scoured away multiple inches deep, and homes not even in the center of the tornado were swept clean, their debris turned into literal powder. It wouldn't be long until the school was completely engulfed by the winds. The school itself consisted of 3 buildings: the main wing of the school, the gymnasium, and an extension of classrooms for the 3rd grade. Unfortunately, the south side of the vortex, where the strongest winds are, sliced directly over the 3rd grade building. As this happened, the eastern wall of the structure collapsed on top of dozens of students and teachers, sadly killing 7 3rd graders. The death toll would make it one of the most lethal tornado impacts on a school ever recorded. The extremity was not just limited to the school, however, as the surrounding neighborhood was completely flattened. Rows of homes to the south of the school were essentially thrown through the air, leaving nothing on the foundations, and even stripping at the tile on the concrete slabs. The devastation in South Plaza Towers would kill 7 other people while they were sheltering in their home, meaning in just a couple of minutes, the tornado had killed 14. Another element that may have contributed to the fatalities here was the appearance of the tornado, as debris and rain shrouded the once photogenic tube, transforming it into an almost mile-wide hazy fog. While very few visible angles of the tornado exist,
Ulster, now is not the time for these types of jokes. It is not.
at this point, one civilian, Danny Tracy, was recording from about a mile away. While the tornado is too large to fit into his vertical video, stitching together the shots reveals the massive rain-wrapped monster tearing through Plaza Towers. Even closer, Kim Aguilar and her co-workers filmed the tornado passing from an oil change store. and while the tornado missed them by less than half a mile, a shower of debris filled the air, raining down on the streets and stores.
Right there, look just like this. I was in it too. On again.
Passing Plaza Towers, the path continues to shift to the north, and the damage, while still extreme, shrinks in width. A cemetery is directly hit next, shifting and even tossing massive headstones around and caking them in mud as the ground is continuously scoured away. A tree line to the north is obliterated before the next neighborhood is hit. Homes continue to be turned to powder when suddenly the tornado begins to slow down and turn sharply to the north. In any normal tornado, this would be an indication that it's about to lift. But suddenly, while moving less than 10 miles per hour, the tornado shifts again, making a complete loop over the area. The tornado was far from over. Near the tornado's loop, 4 homes were impacted so heavily their debris essentially disappeared. While no one was in the homes impacted, the vortex unfortunately looped over something else, a gas station where multiple people were taking shelter inside. If a normal EF5 tornado wasn't enough, a nearly stationary one has to be unsurvivable. And unfortunately, 3 people died in the gas station. The loop also had another side effect. The path was now heading southeast, directly towards the Moore Medical Center, the town's hospital. As it ripped through the hospital, cars in and around the building were tossed, thrown, and shredded like toys, in some cases fusing multiple cars into an unrecognizable pulp. The reinforced stone column of the hospital allowed the structure to remain standing. However, almost every window and entryway was blown out, and the entire hospital was caked in mud, debris, and even piles of vehicles. The tornado begins to speed up past the hospital, and as it emerges from the rain, its appearance is very different from before. Now, a tall brown snake of destruction. Multiple businesses are now being flattened as the tornado crosses over the interstate and into more residential areas. The EF5 winds are now in a much tighter area, leading to an almost selective level of damage, as some homes are completely swept away while others remain standing. Crossing a field, a row of industrial buildings lie in the path, and while the worst winds miss the businesses to the south, the weak metal structures hold little support, collapsing and crumbling from the winds. One man, 63-year-old William Sauce, sadly dies in the building he was leasing. As the tornado crosses into the next neighborhood, storm chaser Craig Nichols takes cover inside a random person's home, and he emerges to find, while the structure he was in was fine, just a couple yards down the road, blocks were leveled.
Oh my God. Destroyed it. Oh my God.
To the south, Jeffrey Lekes also records the tornado, just barely missing him.
Okay. You can't tell me that this isn't one of the most terrifying weather phenomena to witness in front of your screen. You're sitting there, you're looking at the tornado, and when you look at it, the brightness of your screen dies down, and then you see the rest and width of the tornado form in front of your eyes. Like, look at this. And it's just right there in front of you. That is some horror movie nonsense. Yo, CDs, what's going on? We've just been watching some truly terrifying tornadoes.
Away, as the tornado has now regained an east to northeast direction. The outer windfield and core both steadily shrink, turning into more of a drill into the earth as it continues to level more and more homes. A portion of the Highland East School is completely swept away, luckily with no one inside. And past the school, a park is destroyed and covered in mud. The tornado splinters one last row of homes south of Highway 37 before the packed suburbs of Moore cease. Maintaining a violent intensity, the vortex continues to shrink at a sudden rate. While multiple homes are still being impacted, the terror on the city of Moore is slowly coming to an end, and suddenly, K4 captures the tube, slowly snaking into nothing.
And maybe just the east side of Air Depot Road, there it is, it's gone, Mike. So let's see, we're going to stay right here, we're going to see if it recycles, but it's completely roped out, or it's continuing to rope out as we speak right now. Look at that school, guys, oh my God, right there. Keep coming back to your left, Travis, keep coming back to your left. If you guys can see this, I don't know how to explain it, how to describe it. This is terrible. This is war zone.
Moore, Oklahoma is gone. The damage is inconceivable, arguably worse than 1999. Rescue personnel is stretched thin as a hospital, 3 schools, and over 1,100 homes are completely destroyed. The 2013 Moore tornado was incredibly strong, considered by some to be one of the strongest ever recorded, and the scars are still visible today. Thank you for watching.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good on tornadoes. I'm good at tornadoes. That's horrifying. That was horrifying. Steven Seagal, the biggest jerk in all of cinema. I got off work one afternoon and it was raining. It was driving like, dang, it's really pitch black out here. I never seen this. Me process to drive and find a parking lot or safety, and then my phone alert, a tornado in the northwest area was active. I was like, whoo. Wow, that was a lot. Yeah, the tri-state tornado of 1925. Let's see, 1925 tri-state tornado. In the midday and afternoon hours of Wednesday, March 18th, 1925, the deadliest tornado in United States history and second deadliest worldwide moved through eastern Missouri, southern Illinois, and southern Indiana, killing 695 people and injuring 2,027 more in what is sometimes known as the tri-state tornado. Tornado touched down as part of a larger severe weather outbreak that hit the United States on the same day and produced catastrophic damage across numerous villages and towns across all 3 states. Despite not being officially rated, it is widely accepted to have been equivalent to an F5 on the Fujita scale. So I want to know about the Fujita scale. Scale for rating tornado intensity. So yeah, okay, so F0, 73 miles an hour, light damage. F1, 73 to 112 miles per hour, moderate damage. F2, 113 to 157 mile per hour winds, and it damages considerable. F3, 158 to 206 with severe damage. F4, 207 to 260 miles per hour winds with devastating damage. And then F5 with 261 to 318 mile per hour winds, with the damage being seen as incredible. F6. Strongest tornado of 1974 super outbreak, which affected Siena, Ohio, a preliminary rating of F6 intensity. But to 1925, touchdown in Shannon County, Missouri, moving to the northeast. The tornado immediately began to produce heavy damage to structures before directly impacting Annapolis, destroying 90% of the town and killing 2 people. Wow. So back then, it did $16.55 million in damage back in 1925. Adjusted for inflation, that damage would equal to 2.9 million. No, dude. We have the enhanced Vegeta scale. Heh. I wonder how my belated family members dealt with that in 1925. I can only imagine. Back then, you didn't have storm chasers. You didn't have a weather channel to let you know, like, hey, this is what it looks like on the radar, because radar didn't even really exist like this back then. Not to the degree that it exists right now. That's crazy. Tornadoes are scary. They're scary. What else can I say? All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I think we covered enough. How long was this? It's going on about 2 hours long. I wanted to cover this tornado, but just looking at that, I'm just so glad I no longer live in Oklahoma. Mind you, that doesn't mean that we're immune from tornadoes here in North Carolina, simply because we had like a very close tornado watch happen like a couple of years ago. So not even North Carolina is, immune from this sort of thing. But at the same time, I'm so glad I don't live in a state where they are known to occur pretty much every year. Tornadoes and hurricanes are intimidating. Yep. Tail end as usual. CDs, it's all good. Don't feel like just because you show up at the end that you missed out. I mean, that's the reason why these are VODs. There's a reason why these are VODs for you to enjoy later. So it's all good. It's all good. I'm just happy that you showed up and you're here today. That's all. That's all I look for you guys is all I really look for you guys is if you're entertained. If you've been entertained, I've done my job. I'm not worried about anything else. So, but don't feel like you're coming up short because you show up at these streams, because you got life. You got life that happens. It's way more important than just some dude online reacting to tornado videos. So you're good. Don't even worry about it. With the heat advisory that is happening, I hope a tornado don't hit my town. I hope we don't get too many of these storms because this heat keeps fluctuating. And with all this heat and sporadic rain every now and again, it's only going to increase the chances of more and more storms. I mean, during one of the more recent storms that we had, there was so much lightning and thunder going on outside that it shut off power momentarily. Thankfully, I wasn't doing a stream at the time. I think it was like on a Wednesday. But with all this heat that we keep getting, I really hope that it doesn't turn into anything else. And that goes for any state. And this goes without saying, be safe. Be safe, everybody. Don't try to chance anything. Don't be like the people that thought like, hey, we can outrun this tornado or outrun this storm. Because, well, we saw how that happened. I believe we finna have something later. Y'all want to talk about heat? It's 104 here. Yeah, this heat is something else. When I tell you I am so glad our AC was fixed and we're good now. Whew! I don't know what I would have done if this heat kept continuing and we didn't get our AC fixed the way we did. I have never been so appreciative to have 70-degree cold air just blowing into my room in the wee hours of the night. Hey, it may be cold, but at least I'm not hot. So, yeah. this heat is something else. Everyone's please stay safe out there. It's still summer. So please stay safe because I don't think we're going to be coming out of this heat wave anytime soon. So make sure to stay hydrated, stay indoors, and be cool if you need to. Don't be outside. Don't worry about anyone saying you need to go outside and touch grass. No, I don't want to touch grass. The grass is hot. It's never been hot before. I don't want to touch it. The blades are hot now. I don't want to go outside. Leave me alone. I don't want to go outside. The blades on the grass is hot. I don't want to touch any of them. I don't know why, but I kind of like doing that voice now. I may have to do that for something. But, wow. The Moore tornado and the El Reno tornado. That's scary. So, this was a good session to learn from. I'm not going to say that I enjoyed watching this destruction from tornadoes, but this was very informative. Very informative. So, we're going to have to do something like this another time. Maybe look at some other types of storms, like hurricanes or tsunamis or the like. Or even have like I still need to do my big talking stream for all of you guys, where we just talk to each other. I had to push it back because I was doing other things the other day. What is that voice from? It's like incorporating chuckles from that D&D animation that you see on YouTube, and just how people tend to make clowns sound in old cartoons from the 90s. So, but yeah, we'll do volcanoes seems like another good one, because volcanoes carry with them not only if you want a good example of how powerful a Kainu would be in real life from One Piece, just look at a volcano explosion. So we'll check those out. We'll check those out on another day. There's plenty of time for us to have another session like this. So, Kitty, if you can find a good one, if I don't find a good one first, then if you find a good volcano video, then I'm sure we'll react to that one as well. And I thank you all for sending me like video suggestions on what we can react to as a whole, so you guys can feel like you're taking part in what I upload to this channel as well. Even if you're not members, you guys help me put stuff together, and I love entertaining you all with the stuff that you guys want to see. But yeah, so we'll choose another day when we get to do this again, and look at all the different things about weather and phenomena that happens throughout the world. We ain't checking out no scary stuff, though. We ain't checking out no cursed stuff, no Annabelle dolls. We ain't looking at none of that stuff. But weather stuff, yeah, I'd be more interested in looking at. But that's all I got for you guys, ladies and gentlemen. Regular Skeleton, it's good to see you again. CDs, Kitty, Halster, Hybrid, every single Mihai, everyone who showed up, Subject, everyone who showed up here today. Thank you for making this an incredibly entertaining session to do for all of you. That's all I got for today, because I am going to prepare for some food and continue to mess with Death Stranding so I can get that trophy so I can start playing Scam Likely. How about Scam's no longer on my phone? Get off my phone. And keep messing with Death Stranding until it's time for Death Stranding 2 later this week as well. And I'll probably do like a first impressions session of it with all of you, and perhaps play through it for you guys leading up to the release of Donkey Kong. Not to mention, there's still so many things happening within the month of June as well. We got the Space Marine 2 Siege update. We got the next update for Monster Hunter Wilds, the next title update, and I believe something else is happening as well. Something else important is happening as well, gaming-wise, aside from Death Stranding. But I can't think of it at this time. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'll keep you all informed on Discord and the community as well if you're not on Discord, so you guys don't miss out on any new information. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Onwards to 100,000 subscribers. 100K. And I know with your help, I can't wait to bring you all this good stuff happening in June and July, then August, and then September with Borderlands 4. It's just so many things, but thank you for the support towards this channel as a whole. I wouldn't be able to do half this stuff I do on this channel now if I didn't have your support, both monetary and otherwise. So I just want to say thank you. I'm covering all my bases before I go today, all right? But thank you. Hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. And because I know you're coming back anyway. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!